Okay, so welcome. This is the first attempt at doing a live stream of Gravity Sketch working, and let me just check my audio is coming through. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, basically, I think it would be valuable just to kind of show my workflow. Often spend evenings kind of just working in Gravity Sketch, and sometimes I think probably it could be useful for people to see exactly how it is that I go about uh, doing this. So there's I was kind of looking for an interesting thing to build, and I saw that this guy James Robbins, who's a designer at Rivian, was doing a lot of really cool stuff with Midjourney, and I think just Midjourney, maybe some other AI tools as well. But this is one of the sketches that he'd done, or he collaborated with Midjourney on, and I thought, okay, it would be cool to actually build this into a model in Gravity Sketch. We're not quite there at the point yet that the AI can actually build the model, but it can make some pretty cool images. So I thought what I'd do is just kind of start sketching this out. Like typically, um, I would have sketches from a designer that are kind of side view, front view. I'd have some wheelbase, some dimensions and such like to work with. Obviously, on this one, it's I've got absolutely nothing except for that image, and so I've just basically kind of what did I do? I went and got some images of a. Uh, these are some other cool sketches that James had done. I was trying to pick which one I was going to do. Maybe I might do another one of these in an upcoming stream. But yeah, this cool um, hooligan thing. I basically used the wheelbase of this. I'd set this up on the center line. I'm not sure if it's still there. There's some issue at the moment with the Gravity Sketch images loading up as purple planes, but because I've imported that as an image now, I can actually now go and reapply that there and reapply the front view. Just kind of a workaround, but yeah. So actually, you'll see the my roof line is kind of lower. Kind of looks a bit squashed right now. I was just starting to pull stuff around a little bit. I'd realised that in the front three-quarter view that these kind of arches here were like really quite a bit bigger. Um, so I'd actually already done some surfacing on this, and you'll see that actually these lines are pretty wobbly now because I'd actually done the surfaces. I'd done some surfaces, and then I thought, oh, I'd better pull those lines back down to kind of match them. But I didn't actually do a very tidy job of pulling those lines back down. But I mean, basically the way the power of Gravity Sketch is because we can pull in these lines. These lines can act as our like tape lines. So when we were doing clay modeling, we would use um, like literally paper tapes to put lines on models to indicate where the surface breaks are going to be, and you can actually uh, do that directly here now in 3D space. So actually, I can pull in basically the entire design just editing those lines. So just grabbing those lines and pulling them around, and in that way, I can actually explore the design really quickly. I can see that that is kind of squashed down there, uh, and I can actually see where it is I want to go with it without having to pull around actual surfaces. So I know I'm not the only person in the world who's pulling in lines as they're doing their models, but actually the thing that I encourage my students to do is to really pull in like accurate lines. So to actually really get down and kind of look on those lines, you'll see that look, this is not good at all. And so we would actually pull those lines into actually some semblance of order. And you should, if I've set this up right, you should be able to, you should be getting the feed from my right eye, which is what I always, my right eye is far more dominant. So I normally close my left eye and I'll kind of look down lines and I can see, okay, there's a slight wobble in that. And you can use these lines as really, really good guides for um, actually laying out the surfaces. So um, I guess because I've already done the surfaces, it kind of it's I could do it again, I suppose. But I think maybe the most valuable thing would be to, I guess, to say what's important really is actually laying out the topology. So the the topology basically just means that where we're going to put where the edge loops run, and I've locked that layer. I'll turn that off I'll turn that off now. I'll turn off the subdivision and let's put full up transparency. So the layout of these edge loops and these surface loops is actually really important for getting good surfaces. The the distance between these spans on a constant curvature is kind of important. Where they run, basically where each one of these spans run is pretty much a like where a highlight is going to run. So actually, if I actually turn that back on, and then I'll turn this into. I mean, I haven't not highlighted this model per se, as you would a clay model and such like. So you'll still see some wobbles and such like. But because I've actually followed the, let's see if you better see it. So you see how you see the lines, the black lines on the surface. This is how I've laid out the topology, and actually, as a result, my highlights are nice because I've been strict about kind of making sure that they kind of run nicely, and so that gives me nice surfaces, or nice-ish surfaces. Or certainly, what it's going to do is put me in a good place, so that actually I can then start pulling stuff around. But I've already decided through my topology what kind of what patches are required in order to make up that form. And so then actually it's really just pushing and pulling all the edit points around to actually get kind of the surface that I want. And so for example, looking across the car, if I deemed that was not distinct enough on my model here, then I could come in and basically pull up all these guys here, and you'll see, like, you see this surface here, and this surface here. Well, this surface here is kind of twisting. So if I look at that single patch here, this wants to not be twisting at all. Actually, in order to have that really laid out properly, each one of these lines needs to run, and each one of these patches really needs to not be under any torsion really. Like sometimes there's going to be a little bit, but if you can iron it out as much as you can, like to iron it out entirely, sometimes you would have to add more topology than is absolutely necessary. So it's probably better to have a lighter model and a slight twist in the surface. Um, but yeah. So yeah, like I say, I'm just trying out this kind of live streaming thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be a thing I do. I think it could be a cool thing to do quite regularly. Uh, I do a thing with some students quite regularly, where when I'm teaching, and that they bring me their models and they tell me their problems, and I kind of help them work through their problems. And I think it would be quite cool to maybe live stream some of those sessions. So I'm thinking about doing that. Let's take this back out of shiny mode here. But yeah, but just for now, what I'm going to do is I'm kind of just going to keep going on and working on this model, and then refining it, filling in the bits that I haven't done, and also refining the design. Like look, you see here the arch is really squashed down compared to the lines that I'd drawn. Excuse me. I didn't actually have any idea what the back end should do, to be quite honest with you. So I kind of took some inspiration from some different cars that I've seen around, like this oil stain lab, is it half 11 or something it's called. This is super nice thing. Yeah, I'm not a car designer, actually, honestly. I work in motorcycles typically, and but most of the content that's being generated in AI is mostly car stuff. So that's kind of why I'm focused. I decided to pick a car to do, and yeah. So I'll just crack on with this, and we'll see how we go. So just trying to look at where that. There's going to be a highlight that runs along that corner of the door there, and actually it's going to run into the arch here. And so kind of got to make sure that that runs nicely into there. Make sure that these are nicely spaced out. Like, I mean, between the lines here. I think that one's got to come back here, so we're not having any torsion here. And I work on this with the sub D turned off because uh, I understand what the patches are supposed to be doing, or what is kind of needed, and it's more important for me to see that the surface is not undergoing any kind of weird twists than it is for me to actually see it softened. Um, I know we'll see it softened later on. But I can see I can get to what all these. If I look at all these lines here, so there's going to be a highlight that runs through here, a reflection. And actually, I really want to make sure that is running kind of nicely with this one. It's going to run nicely with this one. And that is, I mean, that's basically what clay modeling was all about as well. So, I mean, this is why I'm a big advocate for teaching clay modeling, teaching clay modelers how to use this, because these clay modelers are the guys who have got kind of all that understanding, and yeah, they can redeploy it in Gravity Sketch. I can actually just flip this over and work on the inside a little bit. Sometimes it helps to work on the inside. You see how that up that can rail, that's like crazy, messing around all over the place. And it's possible that I've got too much topology. I'm just going to duplicate that, or delete that and put another one in there, just to straighten it up. So this needs a bit more shape in it here. sort of basically the kind of anatomy of these surface layout is, as we've got surface along the top, we got this one acts as the radius, and then this is the side surface. So this kind of all runs down into the side surface here, and this one here represents the kind of radius, the on the what's it called, cant rail, I guess, um, and then it runs because of the way I've got the the topology laid out. I'm being clear about that it runs that highlight that cant that runs around the front. It doesn't come and run off the front here like that. Although it kind of a will, but there's you could lay this topology out in a different way. I mean, maybe I'll just show you real quick. Like if you ran it, let's see, off like that's probably not a good example. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, that's not fine. What have I done? Yeah. Okay, it's a bit of a probably not the shortest route to get to that, but if you look at the topology for this one, see how these run off the front like that. Probably they'd want to run. I forgot. I don't want to labor the point too much, but you could run these off the front here, and that radius here would be the one that then describes this radius here, and so actually this one might be a bit flatter on the top. But those are kind of two different that layout. If I smooth this and smooth this, I wonder if I put them into. Yeah, I mean, it's not, the surface is not really good enough to see it, I suppose, but just, I suppose, believe me when I say that there's so many different ways to lay out topology, and there'll be more better examples than I've just tried to give you as we go along. But there's so many different ways of laying out topology. Like I had quite a lot of messing around in this corner here. And in the end, I ended up with a triangle here. I try not to end up with triangles. Actually, and there's a triangle here, there's a triangle here. So technically speaking, I could just drop across the two, join the two there, and make it into all quads. But I kind of quite a believer in when you put it in subdivision mode on, and you've got these contour lines on, when you can see, like if I had that in there, kind of does this weird thing here, and I don't know, it might be better, maybe not. I'd have to turn the contour lines off and have a look, but anyway, so let's turn off sub D. Right, so where was I? What was I doing? Oh yeah, the rear arches. I don't know what's happened here. Where that's gone up there. So I've got so for example, this one here is the radius that goes between this surface and this surface, and I constructed it that way because I actually had the edge loops. I mean, I actually drew this line kind of a little bit shy down there, but actually I could draw it like that, and then this actually tells me when I'm laying out my sub D surfaces where to actually put them. So let's have a look at that picture. Let's see what that arch is doing. So that, I mean, the layout of the topology there is kind of fine, or the amount of topology is kind of fine. I guess the only thing is that it's kind of really, what he's got is like pretty flat on the top there. So I think I need to lift this up, kind of flatten this off. And so that's going to affect how that comes into the back here. I haven't got that quite right yet. So anyway, we can pull the stuff around like a lot, but let's crack on with building some of the other bits. So I wasn't really sure what was going on down in here in the sketch. It's kind of difficult to see. This is all grayed out. There's this big splitter thing going on here. There was another image of a different one. Where is it? This guy. And this was, I was like, oh, I like, again, it was a similar theme. Actually, I really liked kind of the squared arches, something that was going on in here. So I couldn't decide between which one of these two to do, but then I didn't like that either. So I thought, well, in the end, what I'll do is I'll do some kind of, I'll take some inspiration from that and do some little cooling duct, brake cooling duct or something. And so if I go back to put my lines on here, actually now, turn off the ground, I will just put the surfaces in for this kind of splitter thing. So I'll use just use mid grey kind of color as well. I think it gives me kind of the best contrast. So let's see, where should we start? We just got to pick a place to start. Not on the right texture. There it is. It's not on the right layer. There's surfaces. There you are. So, because these are kind of round radius corners here, I'm going to do four edge loops, because that is what will give us the nice kind of radius corner. You see there, I didn't finish it in the middle. They've just recently changed the way that you finish a line. It used to be that you'd finish it and with the left-hand trigger, and it would do the last point. Now they've changed it, so it doesn't work quite like that. But I need to get used to that. So you'll probably see me do that quite a lot. So this guy, this surface loop I've put around here basically represents the radius. Okay, so basically now if I grab that guy, it's already sub D object, and I'll pull that down here. just going to delete this all out for now. So I think this is going to go. This isn't going to go around here. Okay, so the cool thing is because I put these lines in fairly accurately. I mean, they're not quite right, but I can just really kind of work quite zoomed in, and I can be fairly confident that what I'm building is going to work. Now, actually, what I haven't done is specified in the lines where this should be, like what should be happening here. And I was thinking that maybe this was going to be kind of a tunnel or something. I'm not sure. What should that be? Actually, maybe that just kind of runs down here. Yeah, we'll just do that. So then flip this upside down. So, what's that? So that middle there is going to be that negative radius, and that one there is going to go up to the middle of that. Is going to go up to the middle of this one here. Oh, you know what? Turn this off. That's much easier. And then I've got full quad here. So now that the middle of that radius is going to be the middle of the radius that runs around to this corner too, that runs around here. And actually, I think I've probably overcomplicated it by starting with 4. So actually, I'm just going to just do 2 on this corner. Now let me delete. I can always add in extra topology later. Well, actually, because I've got. Actually, let me keep them. Actually, I'm going to. This. So I kind of make a border. See the flat surface that I'm building on top. Basically, make a border that kind of runs all the way around it. So there was that one. That one's the radius, and then I've got kind of a border that runs inboard of it, and then I can actually just start to close out this. This like that. Where's that going to go to? Maybe. Actually, no, I'm going to do it this way. And the reason why I'm going to do it that way, um, just felt like it was probably going to be easier. And let's see if that's right. So I almost joined that, almost joined that point to that point there, but then I realised, oh yeah, you know what? I need that band to run all the way around. So we've got this guy. This one here represents the. Um, this one represents the radius, and then this one here represents the surface that comes up off that radius. And in some ways, these corners are sometimes the harder thing to do. Um, oh, sorry, the flat surfaces here, just to kind of figure out exactly how to populate them. I mean, yeah, there's a million ways you could just put quads in here, but there is definitely a sort of a way that is better than others. Um, but let's just stay with this for now. And so here, I know this is a flat surface, so I'm going to come here and set my axis up vertically, make a single surface there, and then actually I can come in, put this into edit mode, turn on snap, and then I can actually no, why not snap mode? Wait, check what I've done here. Put this on the surface. Turn this guy on. Oh, sorry, I slid it all the way to the end. Stupid. Turn off the lines because it has a propensity to stick to the lines. It's not quite big enough. So yeah, it will tend to want to snap to a line more than a surface. So if you've got lines nearby, uh, it's going to want to snap to those more than it's going to want to snap to the surfaces. Um, so I use this sort of snap technique quite a lot, especially if I'm also on like surfaces like here, for example, the front one here. I actually have got a where is it? Reference surface. I got a reference surface here. Actually, I just kind of made like a slightly curved surface and snapped that to it. And so it's the gravity sketch is kind of let's drop that in there. There's it can be used for precision work, but it's also we have to find workarounds if we want to work precisely. Uh, so God, it's not very pretty, is it? So now if I turn that on there, make that black, and then you can see in this corner that wobble there. That's only because I think it's only because the topology is Yeah. So I want to do to fix that because it feels like that wants to run up and around the corner, uh, isn't it? Or maybe it's just maybe it's the light. Yeah, I think maybe it's just the light isn't doing us any favors. So what we're going to do now is pull that up a little bit higher. Turn off snap. So yeah, I don't know if this is helpful to anyone. Let me know what you want to see. I mean, I really should have started from absolutely from scratch. I know that, and probably I will do another one where I start absolutely from scratch. That is not going to. Let's just delete that like that. So actually, yeah, you can see the entire methodology, including laying out the lines and everything. But it's quite a long time to lay out the lines. I mean, I probably spent 3 or 4 hours probably doing the line work for this, um, or to do the initial line work before I started actually then pulling in any surfaces over it. And then, of course, when you start pulling in surfaces, you realize some stuff that you didn't kind of realize when you were doing the line work. But it's all to kind of move it in the right direction. Um, where's the sketch? Where's the sketch? Oh, it's on the ground. So let's put like an images layer, images. So I can get rid of that. I kept this one in because I quite like the back end of that. It was pretty cool. Maybe let's go around the back end and have a look. I'll just flip that over. Let's start pulling in some stuff from the back. I think the diffuse is probably too high, and it needs probably a little bit more angle on it, and it needs some different channels in it. Maybe let me just draw some more lines here. The pink. There you go. Again, didn't finish it properly. Mirror that. Set that in a bit. Well, let's just start putting some surfaces in, and then we shall see. So for this one, how am I going to do this? This is basically one surface that wraps over. So actually, I'm going to do this. Well, I'll do that in the. I'll do it the same way I do most surfaces. This may not be the most efficient way of doing exactly this thing, but just to kind of show the workflow a little bit. Do 2 here, do 2 here. Oh man, when are we going to learn? And then I can actually go that whole edge and see that at the bottom here, this is messed up. Yeah. So, and am I gonna do it? So I mean, basically, I want all the lines to run horizontally, really, because this is all the highlights, all the reflections uh, off this diffuser would actually be horizontal. So that may be right. I mean, it's fine for now. We can come back in and clean it up later. In fact, this is actually one of those situations where because there's extra information now at the bottom here, so there's an extra line here. So there's the 2 lines here that go to form form the either side of the radius. But then I've actually got this extra one here, and that will cause a little wobble in that surface at that point. And actually, I'm going to just delete it out and say, let's just delete. I just did that extra line so you can see this. So then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is an n-gon, or what's called an n-gon. Five or more sides or vertices on a face is an n-gon, and we should try and avoid them. But this kind of situation is where I put them in, and yeah, it looks a bit sort of hokey on the hokey, whatever that means. I think it's an American word. Looks a bit weird on those surface contours, but actually it tends to give the best results I've found. So I don't mind actually having n-gons in some places. The same goes for triangles as well. So that's that. That's the radius. And we're going to have a back surface that comes down. It's going to okay. I could avoid actually all of this hassle by just using the thickening tool. So let me just show you I said at the beginning, this is probably not the best way to build this. And it probably isn't. So let's just pull that up there. Sorry, actually, I'll just keep it a fixed distance away just in case this all goes horribly wrong. But we'll use the surfacing tool, and I shall. You know what I can do? I can just use this one. Full curve between these guys. because Gravity Sketch has got a thickening tool. I can just use that. Let's mirror that. Join it together on the center line. Add an extra one here. Add an extra one here. I'm going to take my knife tool here now, cut across here, delete out that point to give me the end-on. And then the thickening tool, I can say 10 mil thick here. And actually, if I now shall I do it? Why not? Bake that thicken. That did not work. Wait, why is that not working? 10. Bake thicken. Okay, that has not worked. Do a Gravity Sketch. I think there's a bug. Let's just try the other one just to see. The baking the offset works, but the baking the thicken does not. Okay, no matter. We'll just add these together. Oh, it did work. Sorry, I'm being silly. There, it was in there. So can I go back? So thicken, 10 mil down, bake thicken. Okay, and then it's in there. It's because it retained the original surface. And then I'm actually just come and hit this one twice to then put radius on each of those corners, and then we got a kind of a slightly thickened thing. So that's just a different way of doing that. Oh, I just got to take my top off. It's roasting in here. Okay. Then should we do a fin down there? Okay. How should we do that? Should we do that a different way? We'll just make a surface. In fact, this should be vertical, so actually I'm going to just make a completely vertical surface here. No idea why these always come in at 45 degrees. They always come in at 45 degrees when you don't want them to come in at 45 degrees. Snap, turn the tool to snap by hitting the color wheel button, and then put that into sub D. Lift them up. Okay, so again, I will use the knife tool just to cut that end off there. I'll mirror this, and I'm going to thicken that again using this tool. Yeah, 10 mil. And actually, you know what? I'm not going to bother baking that. I'll just leave it as it is for now. It's going to make editing it easier for sure. That is not the final form for that. I don't know about these lights. I don't really like these lights, especially when I zoom into them at 100% and I realize that this here is 15 centimeters and that is 40 centimeters. I mean, kind of, I just did something to reflect the front. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a designer, not a car designer anyway. So I'm going to crack on with the back here. So this is the surface, back surface. And then I'm going to add an edge loop here. This is going to be the radius. Tighten up the radius there. And let's add let's turn this off. So that immediately you see, it doesn't look too bad, but as soon as you turn this off, you see exactly how messed up it is. You see how twisted these are. Look at that. Oh my God. Okay, you see these lines here, they're kind of all over the place, aren't they? And they don't want to be. So maybe let's sort out before I start adding in the glass and stuff, maybe I'll just work on these a little bit. So as it gets tighter curvature towards the edge of the roof here, so you kind of the curvature here of the roof actually is kind of reflective of, of this radius here. There's because kind of most of the curvature will happen here, and then whatever curvature happens here is kind of also related a little bit to that curvature in plan view there. Excuse me. So this line that comes off across here is actually related now to the start of the radius of the shape in the door here. This little band that runs around is actually just, I guess, the radius or the edge of the panel here. Yeah. I mean, I'm matching those lines, but actually the lines are not brilliant. I normally try to spend quite a bit of time getting the lines really right. There comes the point when you've got to get into the surfaces, and then you'll start seeing what you've done wrong. But then later, when you want to really tidy up the model, then you can actually really come back in and control the lines, and then you basically end up really making nice curves. So that actually, yeah. So when you're then refining the surfaces, you can actually then really rely on those curves uh, and refine the surfaces again. So it's a little bit curves, surfaces, and then back to curves again. So you can see there's just that patch there, had a little bit of a twist in it. This is, I mean, it seems a little bit tedious, but and maybe this is too early in the day to be doing such kind of tiny little refinements. Uh, but I don't know. It is what it is. This is how it is. I mean, so I had decided some kind of fall in from the glass side glass there, and hopefully, you can look across you look across the lines as you draw them in, so you can already kind of imagine what the surface is going to be like. Um, and so basically follow those like that. Let's see what we got here. We got. I just It's always a good idea to try to keep similar, like the same number of spans. So, for example, now I'm going to put the windscreen in here, and actually, it'll be a good idea because I already kind of said here on this panel, I need this many spans in order to describe that curve. Um, and so, if I need that many spans to describe that curve in the bodywork, I actually need that many spans to describe that curve in the glass. And also, when it gets up to the top here, then this has to match with the roof. And so you actually can see probably that one actually wants to run down there. Um, so, in fact, the thing I went to great lengths to talk about earlier about that highlight running around the corner, maybe that's not right. Or is it? I don't know. I don't know. This is why I have to make a decision what I want it to do. Um, and actually think, yeah, let's just keep it kind of the way it is. So this is going to be that's going to be the glass is going to do that. Um, so actually, this is going to tell me that this highlight that runs up through the glass is then going to come, and then actually need probably more curvature here in that roof than I've actually got right now, because otherwise the glass is going to have a weird flattening through here and be coned at the bottom. So let's just I'll let me put the glass in and then we'll figure it out. So, but this is what I find quite a lot is that the actual let's just do it with a ribbon stroke. The actually the putting in the topology actually kind of really helps to define the design uh, in the same way as like when we do clay modeling. Like you realize what has been sketched or been asked for may not be really possible, and so you then kind of show what is possible. Uh, and this is kind of how it is in Gravity Sketch 2. So let me turn off the lines, they're not helping right now. Pardon me, a little bit of a frog in my throat. But I'm just going to have a drink of water. The problem with not being in a collab room is there's no mute button. So now do I need to add? I guess I do. So these guys. That's the radius for the windscreen. That's the radius around there. This is the radius that one. Here's the side surface. So I don't. The problem is adding edge loops in like this, is we end up with a whole load of extra topology down there where we don't really want it. But we kind of need it here on the corner. I think we do. Kind of often make decisions and then change your mind. Yeah, well, at least I do. But that's okay. I think that's okay. But so what I'm going to do is delete out this whole edge loop here, and then I can actually see about losing this in here, in that one surface here. These are the little problems with dealing with Gravity Sketch, or not Gravity Sketch particularly, but just sub-D modeling, is trying to figure out where you can run stuff, or where stuff should run. So you need just as much topology as you need, and no more. And so the goal is to try and keep it as simple as possible, of course. Sometimes you've got to add topology in. And I think what I'm going to do is make that one there to an end gone. And just say that is what it is right now. You see this now, I've got this kind of dent in here, which is the kind of the start of the radius. So I basically need this patch here to be a nice kind of smooth patch, and I could actually make a curved surface and like a NURBS surface or a simple surface to snap to. Maybe I'll do that later on, but probably I'll just end up using some highlights. Now I think I actually need one more to go down there, because you see how flat that is here, and actually this is quite a curve around the corner, so I think we could actually get away with one more going down that way. So I'm going to do that, and then that's all quads now. So let's smash that with a smoothing brush, which is going to distribute those points. It might kind of flatten it out a little bit for us, but what it does is it kind of distributes everything into a much more logical or an even layout. And so now that one has to move. These all have to move across. And now it's actually these ones here are actually kind of defining that radius of the corner of the rear window. Maybe that is still, this line here is still waving around too much. It's not going to give us a nice highlight. That side surface here is leaning over too much. It needs to have more continuity with what's happening in the C pillar. I think, at least if I remember everything from when I was doing clay cars. Okay, maybe let's put the. Oh, let's finish the front glass. So, see this? That's not cool. So that, if I put both of them in edit mode at the same time by holding down the blue button, I can now actually make sure that we're going to have highlights that run like all the way through the car. Let's not worry too much about what's happening down there just yet. But that's the thing. That's why topology is so important, because it really, really, really dictates the highlights. And the highlights are like, okay, you never park a car underneath strip lights like this, but highlights are just a description of the form, and so the description of the form needs to be right. We end up with weird surface reflections, and yeah, when things are right, they're right and they look right. When they look wrong, they look amateurish. So although Gravity Sketch is called Gravity Sketch, we can still achieve some pretty good results, and they seem to get better each project that gets delivered. So yeah, it's definitely a learning curve, and I guess this is why I'm doing this, is to show how good the tool can be, and yeah, just, I don't know, give some people some help, I guess. Again, yeah, let me know if this is interesting, if you like this. I mean, honestly, I'll just do this stuff anyway, and maybe live stream it, and if people want to watch it, they want to watch it. If they don't, they don't. But I'm still going to do the work anyway, so I might as well leave it open. If anyone wants to come and have a watch, that's cool. So I got one person. Hello, one person. But I'll put this so that people can watch it on the replay. Oh man, this must be quite tedious for watching. Actually, just me tickling stuff in. Let me move on with something. Let's put the rear glass in. Um, so the front glass. I'll copy it. And, okay. So I'll put some spans in across here that correspond to those side lines. Yeah, this might be one of those times when I want to put an end gun in the corner again. Although, actually, maybe not because I've done something weird on the corner here. Like I've got more points. Normally, I try to do a radius in just a couple, but here I've got this is the kind of acceleration in starts with this one here, and the same at the bottom. So we just leave it how it is. Not sure if I need these here just to add a bit of tightness to that corner there. But sorry, they're in now. So these lines here are going to dictate our. Let's just show it. Dictate our highlights here. So you see, still falling comes, and then it falls down a little bit here, and then it falls down a lot here. So, but this is when we're going to go back in and like highlight it. Then we'll start actually start moving these around like that. So I might actually need to see there's this kind of weird artifact, these zigzags here, and these I might need to run that patch down to actually add another bit of geometry here. Let's just try that, see if it improves it. Just turn off subd again. So we're going to turn. It'd be nice to be able to grab these 3 patches all together, but can't. So I'm going to do this, this. I just extruded out those couple of surfaces there, which automatically gave me this the kind of nice way that they close out, or that surface loop would run around. What have I done? Have I improved that? Yeah, so the weird zigzagginess has gone away, but I still have to sort these surfaces out now. Okay, well we're not doing highlighting right now, but I suppose it's good to look at, isn't it? Just now, just to see that you can see that these are pooling kind of nicely. All the highlights run kind of nice. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's doing what I want it to do, and it is doing what I wanted it to do because I deliberately set out the topology this way. I guess is the best way of saying it. There's still some wobbles and stuff, but that'll be taken care of when I come back in and tune it. But that's a whole other thing. Let's see. Oh, so has multiple selection been added to GS? Multiple selection of objects was like always there, in that you could grab more than one object. And I've got the screen and the body, and I hold down the blue button, and then they'll both be put into edit mode. Is that what you mean? I think that must be what you mean. Oh, no, don't need this. Just put it in this. Right, now let's get the side glass. Are we ready for the side glass? Actually, I'm not sure we are ready for the side glass, because I still have to got this rim that runs around here, and I actually need to extend this up by 1. So okay, how is that side glass going to be? Let's just do it all in. Should we do it all in one? No, I'm going to split because there's going to be a door shut line. Or we can do it all in one and split it later. Let's just add some edge loops in here. So that is like a flat piece of glass right now, and so it needs to get some barrel, but because that's an end gun on the end, it's not going to run all the way to the front. Now it should. I need this to actually be bigger, don't I? So yeah. Sorry, I wasn't really used to looking for questions, but I've just got that up there so I can check for questions. Pretty useful to be able to pin a desktop window as well. I normally use it for Spotify. Do we add? Yeah, this in here, and then add some transparency. And we can look across that glass and see that something a bit weird happening here. But not too bad. Side glass. Let's see, that's not very good. Actually, maybe I just bloody ruined it by adding in those extra. Add a bit more control to it. Well, that'll do for now. Right, let's crack on with the rear spoiler. Where's my lines? Let's copy this guy up here. didn't want to do that, did I? Mm, mm, mm. So this guy, which I'm just going to do this kind of. Mirror it. It's because those lines are very slightly across the center line. It deletes it out when you mirror it. There, that's called translucent, slightly translucent spoiler. That'll be the next big thing. The shade was kind of roughly pulled in, so I'm not going to be too precious about following exactly what it does. Let me just soften those corners off a bit. You know, if I'd done this on a plane, that might have helped. Actually, no, you can't do it. Sorry, I'm confusing it with drawing a lines. You can do a line on a plane. I could do this on a grid, I suppose, but anyway, it's something. Oh man, what should I do with these real lights? Let's come back to it. I'm going to need something in here as well. See, fuse it through there. Pretty sure that is not going to work. Right. I think this is the problem with being in a motorcycle I'm always trying to think about how it actually is going to work and whether it should work, which maybe is not really the point. I'm trying to just make a model which is based on the on a sketch that came out of an AI. So these pair of edge loops that run around here are representing kind of the corner, the radius that runs around, and it should be the same. There will be the same on this side too, as it drops into the shot line and onto the top of the rocker. Not sure if I should be trusting following the line here or the. It's twisting like crazy. So what I'm going to do, so that is coming across at an angle. So I guess that lower surface, that rocker's got a slight angle on it. Let's go all the way to the front with that. Take this guy here. And pull him inwards. It's not quite right because we need to add some radius on the inner corner. And I'm going to. This is one of those things I'm not sure I've really figured out exactly the best way to do these corners. Like, because I end up with a triangle or an n-gon here. Because I could just do like this. And actually in this situation that's probably okay because there's a radius around that corner. Yeah, that's probably the way. Okay, so look at the sketch here. So actually it looks like this is up here. It looks like it's a sharpish corner. Here it kind of looks like it softens in. There's no shut. There's no door shut. Or sorry, there's a color break here, so I guess that's the door shut. So then there's a bit of there's a bit of surface that is runs in the same angle as the door, and then it starts to turn in, I think. So I'll just take that, separate that out. Just delete this top bit, don't need that. So now I've got this little patch is exactly on the same what do you say, tangent to the door, which is all over the place, so it doesn't really matter, I suppose. But we'll sort that out in highlighting, and then there's going to be that's our radius on the corner. Duplicate again, and then I'll pull that in, and then that. So then we've got our side surface radius, and then the surface that wraps in. Maybe this has got a bit more section to it, so we'll add another thing here. I don't think I've actually drawn my lines not quite in the right place there. I think they need to be slightly more inset, so they'll coincide with the let's move them in. Because then that one is going to be pushed in slightly. So this lower one is further out than the rest of them, because the lower one comes all the way out to here. Let's try see if I can spread that out. That is not in the right place. That would need to. That's going down to the top of that surface. So let's just make a a quick rectangle here. Yeah, we've got to follow that. So I just got to decide what I want this to do, really. I think, think, what I think. It's kind of, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen under here, like this all stretches up under here, but like, what does it do in reality? I mean, let's see. This is not a real car, but what would I want it to do in reality? So this guy here has got a thickness. Let's just thicken that for now. So it's 6 mil. And this guy's going to sit underneath it. Kind of reference the angle of that door there. Yeah, I suppose that should follow that feature, kind of thereby giving it some reason to being there. In fact, now I've done that, I feel like probably the split line might even be like that. This would be a separate panel that is coming off the side. Well, okay, we're not going to worry about too much about manufacturing right now. So if anyone decides they want to make this, then yeah, get in touch and we'll figure out the panel splits. Yeah, does that just come down and tuck there? And that would be. I think I'm just going to try and keep it, close it out. Oh yeah, I don't want all this stuff underneath. Don't need it. Oh man, go back and do that again. The only problem with extruding it, always seems to add more stuff than you want. Sometimes it's easier just to not extrude. Sorry, I've got this kind of annoying thing I do, singing my half whistling songs. Sorry. Does that mean you have to pay royalties? Don't know. Okay, I can't think. But that must have been. I should have just done that in a probably easier way than I just did that. I just grabbed that whole edge and extruded it back. But I guess I was sort of trying to design it a little bit on the fly as well. Uh, okay, so that's going to be going deeper as well. To match with this guy. Whee. pretty well. Now it'd be cool maybe if there was a bit of section. Goes all the way back. Four. Oh, this is shit. Sorry, I forgot I'm actually live streaming here. Sorry, get a bit carried away. Now, I wonder if that should. Because actually, if we want to do something like this, then we need a little thin surface that runs all the way through. And I've got a ton of extra lines now going up there. So let's just end it somewhere here. So let's and that's gonna go. So then these loops run back on themselves here. No, 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 no. I don't want that. So you know what? That's what this probably does. There's another little intake there. And an extra edge loop here that is the, it's going to control that edge a bit. So we've got, now we had an extra edge loop. So we've got this one creates the inner radius and the outer radius. So we can control the size of this radius as it spreads into this bigger hole here. I'm not sure exactly what's happening there. Okay, let's not get too bogged down with the design, but okay. Now, actually, there could be something there. Yeah, let's just say there is. Although that still looks super skinny, doesn't it? That's very weak. Let's a bit more structure. Okay. Then, honestly, it's kind of it feels a bit fussy, that whole thing, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't have that thing in. Ah, I don't know. Leave it for now. I'll probably get rid of it later. Now, what else have we got to do? So that splitter. So these go on the lines. Excuse my French, sorry. You know what? I could definitely do this with less points here. But at least I know that that is the same number of points that I've got coming off it, so at least I know I can get it to match up. And you know what? Screw it. Rims locked. Go. Full back on that. I did dicked around with those rims a little bit. I actually think I prefer the old ones. Just plain old. Oh, come on. 20. Okay. Oh, where's my exhaust pipes? So let's do some lights. Yeah, shall we? We won't do them as big as those lines. But maybe right. Okay. I mean, there's probably going to need to be a rear axle in there, isn't there? And a drivetrain. All right. Let's pull that all the way back forward again. Back again. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, does it? Something missing here. There's like big tyres. I haven't got that quite right, have I? And the shape of that arch is all over the place. But now I've got all the topology in. I can actually go in and just start tweaking stuff. Oops. Sorry, I'm not much of a conversationalist or chatting rubbish while I'm just doing this stuff. Hopefully you can just follow what I'm doing. It's interesting. I guess you can see when I move stuff, why I'm moving stuff, just to try and get everything to run nicely. Um, I guess we are really at the point now when the design is in, and now we can start really starting to tweak stuff so that it actually works. So you can see all these little, that's kicking out. That's going to cause a weird surface. And that was a deliberate. I think I'd thought about putting a deliberate turn in there. Maybe it's better just to cut straight off like the diffuser is, so to run it directly up. The surface goes from flat, it comes to the back here, to then being tucking under on the side. And then tucking under here, like a kind of a 45-degree angle or something. Is that right? Is that what it should do? So put that back in the sub D here. Oh, you got the roof pod. That roof spoiler's a bit too high. Although maybe in the image it's a bit too low because it needs to get a clean. Maybe somewhere in between. So what's going on here now? That's the shut here. Let's not do that then. Let's just add thickness this way. 6 mil. I'm gonna add a bit of section to this, haven't we? Actually, maybe not. Maybe it's good the way it is, nice and straight. Okay. Yeah, let's maybe just quick look at these highlights. In fact, let's first have a look at it like this, and we'll be able to see a load of stuff that needs to happen. So we set kind of this is our master curve, and we say, okay, this is basically right, and then everything that comes off the back of it needs to jive with that. Um, Kind of reminds me a bit of some kind of Corvette Stingray or something. Maybe I'm being overly complimentary. I like that car. And then so we can start to look at the cool thing about Gravity Sketch Model is we can really kind of grab it in any orientation we want and look at how these highlights are changing. So you see that's probably I need to kind of really decide what I want it to be doing. And just using the proportional move, the edge of the proportional move to just to grab these points and move them a tiny bit. So I'll fix it from there, and then I'll move to a different angle, and it will change slightly. See how that highlight when it comes across the middle, kind of almost okay, but not quite. This should have more. I mean, you can spend bloody hours doing this stuff. And this is not Alias. I mean, but the cool thing is we can get it pretty good in here. Certainly good enough to mill a clay, slick it up. And then that's the cool thing is when you slick it up as a clay modeler, you kind of know you built it, so you know what you wanted it to do when you were building it. And then when you clean it up in the clay, that should be fuller through here, shouldn't it? Yeah, when you clean it up, when you're the one actually um, slicking up the clay, you can really control. That's pretty nice. You can really control it. So still good old balls through here, huh? But I think I've had about enough for tonight. So I'm going to give it a rest now. If anyone has watched this, that is great. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know and send me a comment or I don't know, like and subscribe and all that stuff that you're supposed to do. And if people are into it, then I shall do more of these. If they're not, then I'll probably still do them anyway because I'm a stubborn bugger. I don't know. I mean, like I say, I'm doing these anyway, so if I can put them up on the internet and if they're useful to someone, that's cool. All right, what am I starting? Starting on another area entirely. I just said I was going to stop. It's the problem with this is very addictive. All right, one tiny last little bit. Just push the bottom of that door in. Okay, that'll do. Uh, Maybe I'll make a few screenshots. Stick it on the gram. Drop that down a bit. Yeah. All right. Oh, fuck it. Who cares? Awesome. Right. Thanks very much for joining. If there is anyone out there watching this, and cool. See you later.